Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 53 in the book of Romans. I'm going to start with a story today. And one time in my travels, I found myself at a cacao farm. Now, cacao is the tree that grows cacao pods, which turn into chocolate. So today I'm going to title this, Making Chocolate for God. So let's go back to the farm. They found that with these cacao pods that the best root stock was not the best plant stock. That is, the stuff below the ground, they found some healthy root stocks, but they weren't very fruitful. And then they found another kind of variant that had very fruitful upper stuff, but the roots rotted or something or fell apart. So they decided that they were going to graft in the plant that was good above the ground to the one that had the best root stock. And they took us and they showed us how they did this. They they found the one with the good root stock and they literally cut it off, and then they put a little nick in there and then implanted the plant that was good above the ground. So here's the point about the grafting in. So I've seen it. It was individually done. It was done with intent. It was done carefully, and it was done on purpose. Why? For chocolate, for fruit. And similarly, the process that we're hearing about today is God is getting to chocolate. He wants to make chocolate with us, and we're making chocolate for him. We're swimming in deep waters here. We're talking about elections. We're talking about people groups coming in, salvation coming to the Gentiles, salvation coming from the Jews, and eventually the Jews coming back to salvation because of the Gentile. It's just an incredible story. Read with me in Romans chapter 11:11. So I ask, this is Paul talking, did they, and he's talking about ethnic Israel, did they stumble in order that they may fall? In other words, did they just stumble just for no reason? Did the Jews, the ethnic Jews, just fall with no purpose? And he says, by no means. Rather, through their trespass, salvation has come to the Gentiles. So that's the good news in the story, is salvation has come to the Gentiles. So as to make Israel jealous. What? So salvation coming to the Gentile is the thing that's going to catch the eye again of ethnic Israel. Verse 12. Now, if the trespass means riches for the world, that is the Gentiles, and if their failure means riches for the Gentiles, how much more will their full inclusion mean? Now I'm speaking to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am an apostle to the Gentiles. I magnify my ministry to the Gentiles in order somehow to make my fellow Jews jealous and thus save some of them. For if their rejection means the reconciliation of the world, what will their acceptance mean but life from the dead? If the dough offered as first fruits is holy, so is the whole lump. And if the root is holy, so are the branches. But if some of the branches were broken off, now we're going to go to the chocolate farm here. But if some of the branches were broken off, and you, although a wild olive shoot, were grafted in among the others, and now share in the nourishing root of the olive tree to make chocolate. Verse 18, don't be arrogant towards the branches. If you are, remember, it's not you who supports the root, but the root that supports you. Then you will say, branches were broken off so that I might be grafted in. That's true. They were broken off because of their unbelief, but you stand fast through faith. Do not become proud, but fear. So where we're heading towards is we're going to bow the knee at the end of chapter 11. We're about halfway through chapter 11. And at the end it says, oh, the depths of the riches and the wisdom of the knowledge of God. How unsearchable are his judgments and how inscrutable his ways. For who has known the mind of the Lord? Who has been his counselor? In other words, the stuff we're swimming through is very deep waters. And I may get some things wrong about the content of that, but the conclusion, which is God is awesome. Let's not get that wrong. So here's what the crazy thing we're talking about. We're talking about the ethnic Israel trespass is working for the faith of the Gentiles, and then the faith of the Gentiles is going to work for the faith of ethnic Israel. So this is how we get that it's through the Jews that the Gentiles were saved. And it's going to be through the Gentiles, at least partially, that the Jews will be saved. It's just this crazy hand and sovereignty of God. So there's this remnant of Israel. God is not rejecting his people. They're chosen by grace, and it is his sovereignty. This process we're talking about, the grafting in, is God offering himself to more people. And some of that is involving his sovereignty and his hardening and his making ethnic Israel in a bit of a stupor so that more are going to come in. It's this falling with a purpose. The trespass of Israel, it has a purpose. That is, ethnic Israel has fallen. That's kind of the bad news. The good news is it's not over. The story is not over. He's going to include them again in some sort of a full way, certainly in the fullness of his will. And so Paul says, I'm going to magnify my ministry to the Gentiles. I'm going to run as fast as I can with the Gentile. Why? So that the Jews become jealous. So the wild olive shoots of the world are grafted into this rootstock. And are we supposed to get arrogant? Oh my goodness, no. We're supposed to have this profound respect and reverence for God. And remember, God is this farmer. He's at work. He's working with a purpose. He wants fruit. And so the question is, why does he graft in these wild chocolate shoots? And it's to his glory and to his purpose. So that's the big answer. But in the meantime, what does he want from me? He wants branchiness. He wants contribution. He wants me catching sunlight, strengthening and contributing to the plant, and then making fruit. That is making chocolate. So yes, standing with awe that I'm grafted in, but then purposefulness. So serve, fellowship, be nourished, be productive, and that's right, make chocolate for God. Thanks for listening.